What if the one word that stopped you was never meant to stop you? Think about the last time you heard no. Maybe it was a job you really wanted, a message you sent with hope, an idea you shared with someone you trusted. You waited, you hoped. Then it came, and something inside you shut down. That feeling is not weakness, it is human. Your brain treats rejection like danger, like pain. Science shows this. The same pathways that light up when you get hurt light up when you feel rejected. So of course you pull back. Of course you question yourself. But here is what no one tells you. That no was not about your worth. It was about fit, timing, perspective, maybe fear on their side, maybe a rule you could not see. But you did not know that in the moment. All you felt was the sting. And that sting has a trap, a quiet lie. It whispers, if they said no, maybe I'm not enough. That whisper is the mistake. That whisper is what keeps good people small. Let me ask you something honest. How many times have you walked away after a no? Not because the dream was wrong, but because the pain felt too heavy. You told yourself it was not meant to be. But was it really? Or did you just believe the lie? Most people do this. They hear one closed door and stop walking. They never check the hallway. They never ask, what else could this mean? They let one moment define a whole path. Here is the hidden truth. Rejection is not a verdict. It is a filter. It removes what is not ready, what is not aligned, what is not yours. It clears space for what is. But you cannot see that when you are stuck in the pain. You cannot see the pattern when you are replaying the moment. That is why so many stop right before the turn. Think about this. Every person you admire has a collection of no stories, not despite them. Because of them, the rejection did not break them, it refined them. It forced a question, will I let this define me or direct me? That question changes everything. Right now you might be carrying a no that feels final. Maybe it was recent, maybe it is old, but still heavy. You have told yourself a story about what it means. But what if that story is wrong? What if that no was protection? What if it was redirection? What if it was the push you needed to build something stronger, smarter, truer? I am not asking you to pretend it did not hurt. Hurt is real. Honor it. But do not let it write your next chapter, because here is what happens when you change the meaning of no. You stop waiting for permission. You start gathering data. You ask, what can I learn? What can I adjust? What is mine to build? That shift is quiet, but it is powerful. It turns pain into fuel, not angry fuel, not desperate fuel, clear fuel, focused fuel. And that is what this message is about, not just surviving rejection, using it. If you stay with me, you will learn how to spot the lie before it takes root. You will learn how to turn the sting into strategy. You will learn the one question that changes everything after a no. More than that, you will learn how to move forward without carrying the weight of other people's opinions. You will learn how to build a motivation that does not break when someone says no. This is not about positive thinking. This is about clear thinking, about seeing what is really there, not what your fear tells you. So ask yourself again, that last no you heard, was it a stop sign or was it a signal? The answer matters because your next move depends on it. And if you keep watching, you will see exactly how to make that move. With calm, with clarity, with confidence. But here is what happens next, and most people miss it. After the sting comes the spiral. You replay the moment. You search for what you did wrong. You imagine what they thought. You scroll. You distract. You seek comfort in anything that numbs the ache. This is not healing. This is hiding. The root cause is not the rejection. It is the reaction. Your mind tries to protect you by avoiding more pain, so it pulls you inward. It makes you overthink. It makes you freeze. This feels safe, but it is a trap. Successful people see this pattern and they avoid it. They know shame is a thief. It steals time. It steals focus. It steals momentum. They do not ask, what is wrong with me? They ask, what is useful here? There is a simple reason this is so hard. Loss aversion. Your brain fears losing more than it values gaining. So one no feels heavier than 10 yes moments. That is not logic. That is wiring. And if you do not name it, it runs you. Watch your habits after a setback. Do you seek quick comfort? Do you avoid the next step? Do you tell yourself a story that keeps you small? These are signs, quiet signs, but clear. The mistake is not feeling pain. The mistake is letting pain decide your next move. Here is the warning. If you keep reacting this way, you will keep stalling. You will keep waiting for the right moment, for the safe opportunity, for the guarantee, and you will miss the ones right in front of you. But there is another path. One question changes everything. Am I healing the wound or hiding from it? Healing looks like action, small, clear, honest action. Hiding looks like noise, distraction, delay. You already know which one you are doing. Do not let shame write your story. Do not let fear choose your pace. The pattern is visible now, and once you see it, you can break it. So you see the pattern, you see the hiding. Now comes the turn, the moment everything can flip, but only if you change one thing. The question you ask yourself, most people ask, why did this happen to me? That question keeps you stuck. It looks backward, it searches for blame, it feeds the pain, and your brain answers with more doubt, more fear, more reasons to stop. But what if you asked a different question? What is this trying to show me? That question changes your state. It moves you from victim to student, from pain to purpose. Your nervous system hears the difference. One triggers threat, the other triggers task. One shuts you down, the other wakes you up. This is not positive thinking. This is strategic thinking. It is the difference between drowning and learning to swim. Think about your last setback. What if it was not a punishment? What if it was data, a signal, a nudge toward something truer? Maybe the timing was off. Maybe the path was wrong. Maybe you were building for the wrong audience. The rejection does not tell you to quit. It tells you to adjust. Here's the hidden mistake: waiting for the pain to fade before you move, waiting to feel ready, waiting for a sign. But readiness does not come before action. It comes from action. Your brain rewards movement, not waiting, not wondering, moving. I learned this the hard way. I stopped begging for approval. I started studying the gap. What was missing? What could I improve? What did I control? That shift changed everything. Pain becomes power only when you give it a purpose. Only when you extract the lesson. Only when you take one small step forward. Ask yourself now, what lesson is hiding behind your last rejection? Not the loud lesson, the quiet one, the one you have been avoiding. That lesson is your next step. That lesson is your fuel. Do not let the moment pass. Do not let the question fade. The flip happens now, or it does not happen at all. But there is a trap waiting right after the flip. A subtle one. You feel the fire. You want to show them. You want to prove you were worthy all along. That urge feels powerful, but it is fragile. This is the ego trap. Building your next move to prove them wrong, not to build what is right. When you work for their eyes, you work for their approval. Even if it is negative approval, you are still tied to them, still reacting, still letting their no steer your ship. Successful people see this, and they avoid it. They know ego-driven motivation burns hot, but burns out fast. It runs on anger, on spite, on the need to be seen, and when the crowd goes quiet, the fuel runs dry. Purpose-driven motivation is different. It runs on vision, on values, on the person you are becoming. It does not need an audience. It does not need applause. It just needs direction. Here's what happens in the mind. When you chase proof, you chase speed. You skip steps, you ignore fundamentals, you burn bridges to feel powerful, but real power is quiet. It is consistent. It is built in the dark. Ask yourself this: who are you really working for? The people who doubted you, or the person you promised yourself you would become? The answer changes your energy. It changes your choices. It changes your endurance. Anger is weak fuel. It cracks under pressure. Quiet focus does not. If you keep building for them, you will keep adjusting for them. You will lose your voice, your pace, your truth. And when they finally notice, you may not even recognize what you built. But if you build for you, for your growth, your standards, your future, nothing they say can shake it. Their no becomes background noise. Their opinion loses its weight. This is the warning. Do not trade your foundation for their attention. The work that lasts is the work done for the right reason, not to silence them, but to honor you. So before you take the next step, check your why. Is it about proving, or is it about becoming? One leads to exhaustion, the other leads to freedom. Choose wisely. Your next chapter depends on it. You have chosen your why. You are building for you. But here's what still holds people back. They wait to feel motivated. They wait to feel confident. They wait for the perfect moment, and while they wait, life moves on. This is the hidden mistake. Believing motivation comes before action. It does not. Action comes first. Motivation follows. Your brain does not reward intention. It rewards completion, even a small one. Think about it. When was the last time you felt proud? Was it when you thought about doing something, or when you actually did it? Exactly. Waiting for the right feeling is a trap. Feelings change. They are not reliable, but action is a lever. Pull it and your state shifts. Move your body and your mind follows. Here is the simple framework. Acknowledge the sting. Do not fight it. Name it, then extract the data. What did this moment teach you? What can you adjust? Then take one step. Just one. Small, clear, doable. Then repeat. This is how you rewire. Not with grand declarations, with quiet repetition. Your nervous system learns through doing, not thinking, doing. Most people skip this. They want the big leap, the dramatic turn, but real change is built in inches, in daily choices, in the decision to move, even when you do not feel like it. Ask yourself now, what is one small action you have been delaying out of fear? Not because it is hard, but because you are waiting to feel ready. That action is your entry point. That action is your proof, not to them, to you. Do not overthink it. Do not wait for clarity. Clarity comes from motion, from testing, from adjusting. The warning is simple. If you keep waiting, you will keep waiting. The moment will pass, the energy will fade, and the dream will grow quieter. But if you move, even shaky, even unsure, you send a signal to your brain. I am the kind of person who acts. That identity is everything. Motivation is not found. It is engineered. One step at a time. One choice at a time. One repetition at a time. Start where you are. Use what you have. Do what you can. The rewiring begins now. Or it does not begin at all. You have taken the first step. You have moved. But here is where most people fade. They expect every step to feel powerful. They expect every day to bring a breakthrough. And when it does not, they question everything. This is the mistake. Chasing intensity, ignoring consistency. Real growth does not shout. It whispers. It shows up in the quiet moments. The early morning, the late night. The choice to do the work. When no one is watching. When nothing feels different. When no one applauds. Your brain is wired to seek novelty. Dopamine fires for new things. For big wins. For instant feedback. But lasting success is not built on spikes. It is built on rhythm, on showing up, even when it feels boring, even when it feels small. Successful people understand this. They do not wait for motivation. They do not chase the high. They trust the process. They know that small wins compound. One page, one call, one rep, one choice, day after day. That is how momentum is built, not in a flash, in a flow. Here is the warning. If you only move when you feel inspired, you will move too little. Inspiration is a guest. Discipline is the host. Ask yourself this. What are you willing to do when no one is watching? When there is no likes, no praise, no immediate reward? That is where your future is built. In the silent grind, in the unseen repetitions. You will not feel proud every day. You will not see progress every week. But if you keep showing up, something shifts. Your identity changes. You become the person who follows through. Not sometimes, always. That identity is unshakable. It does not depend on mood, on weather, on opinion. It depends on one thing, your decision to continue. So do not measure your day by how you feel. Measure it by what you did. Did you move? Did you learn? Did you honor your commitment? That is the only score that matters. The grind is not glamorous, but it is powerful. It is where potential becomes proof, where hope becomes habit, where you become who you said you would be. Keep going, even when it is quiet, especially when it is quiet. That is where the real work happens. And that is where you win. And then something shifts. You have kept going. You have done the work. You have honored your commitment, even when it was hard. And slowly you notice it. The weight is lighter. The opinions that once shook you no longer reach you. This is the hidden freedom. It does not come from success. It comes from detachment. From releasing the need to be liked, from stopping the habit of carrying their voice in your head. Most people believe success means never hearing no again. That is the mistake. Success is not the absence of rejection. It is the presence of resilience. It is hearing no and not flinching, not doubting, not stopping. Here is what changes. When you stop asking for permission, you start building evidence. You no longer wait for someone to validate your path. You validate it yourself, through action, through results, through the quiet knowing that you are growing. Your identity rewires. You are not the person who seeks approval anymore. You are the person who follows through. That shift is internal. No one can give it to you. No one can take it away. Ask yourself this: how much lighter would your work feel if you dropped the need to be liked, if you stopped editing your voice to fit their expectations, if you trusted your own judgment more than their opinion? That question is powerful because the answer shows you what you are still carrying, what you are still protecting, what you are still afraid to release. The warning is simple. If you keep tying your worth to their response, you will always be at their mercy. Your peace will depend on their mood. Your progress will depend on their approval, and that is a fragile way to live. But when you detach, you become untouchable, not arrogant, not closed, just free, free to try, free to fail, free to learn, free to build what only you can build. This freedom is not loud. It is quiet. It is the calm in your chest when you hear no. It is the steady hand that keeps working. It is the peace that comes from knowing. Your value is not up for debate. You do not need them to see you. You need to see you. And when you do, everything changes. The work gets clearer. The path gets simpler. The noise fades. This is the reward for the grind. Not applause, not validation, autonomy. The deep, quiet power of owning your path. Hold that. Protect that. Build from that. Because once you taste this freedom, you will never trade it again. But do not be fooled. This freedom does not mean the test is over. It means you are ready for the next one, because it will come. Rejection will return. Doubt will whisper again. Comfort will beg you to stop. And in that moment, everything you have built will be tested. This is the mistake most people make. They believe one breakthrough means the war is over. It does not. Growth is not a straight line. It is a cycle. Challenge. Response. Growth. Repeat. If you forget this, you will be caught off guard. Successful people know this pattern. They do not wait for the next hit to prepare. They train now. They build anticipatory resilience. They ask, when the next no comes, how will I respond? And they decide in advance. Here is what happens in the mind. When you are calm, your brain can plan. When you are hit, your brain reacts. If you have not prepared, reaction wins. Fear takes over. Old patterns return. You shrink. You stall. You doubt. But if you have prepared, response wins. You pause, you breathe, you remember your why, you adjust, you move. That is the difference between breaking and bending. Ask yourself this: when the next no comes, will you break or will you adjust? The answer is not in your words. It is in your habits, in the small choices you make today, in the way you handle minor setbacks, in the story you tell yourself when things do not go your way. This is the warning. Do not wait for the big test to discover your strength. Build it now, in the small moments, in the daily practice, in the decision to keep going, even when it is easy to stop. Comfort is not your enemy. Complacency is. The moment you believe you have arrived is the moment you start sliding. Growth requires tension. It requires challenge. It requires the willingness to be uncomfortable again and again. So do not fear the next test. Welcome it. Prepare for it. See it as proof that you are still moving, still growing, still in the game. Your resilience is not a one-time build. It is a daily practice, a choice, a commitment. When the next no comes, and it will, you will not be surprised. You will not be shaken. You will not be stopped. You will simply adjust and continue. That is how you win. Not by avoiding the test, by being ready for it. This is where it ends. And where it begins. You have heard the truths, you have seen the patterns, you know the traps, but knowing is not enough. It never was. Here is the final mistake: consuming motivation instead of applying it, watching, listening, nodding, then closing the video and doing nothing. That is the gap. That is where dreams go quiet. That is where potential fades. Your brain loves the feeling of learning. It gives you a small hit of progress. But it is a fake win. It feels like movement. It is not. Real movement only happens when you act. This is the psychological truth. Ownership closes the loop. The moment you decide, the moment you move, your brain shifts. You are no longer a spectator. You are the builder, the doer, the one who follows through. You already have the pain. You already have the proof. You already have the path. What you need now is the decision. Ask yourself this: what will you do differently today because of what you just heard? Not tomorrow, not when it is easier. Today, that question is your test, your invitation, your turning point. Do not wait for perfect clarity. Do not wait for the fear to leave. It will not. Move with it. Speak with it. Build with it. Action is the antidote to doubt, not thought, not planning. Action. Here is the warning. If you close this and return to the same habits, nothing will change. The same patterns will return. The same doubts will whisper. The same dreams will wait, and time will pass. But if you take one step, one small, clear, honest step, you break the cycle. You prove to yourself that you are different, that you are ready, that you are done waiting. This is your reward for staying. Not just inspiration, not just insight, a choice, a clear, quiet, powerful choice to move, to build, to become. The story does not end here. It begins when you act. You have the pain. You have the lesson. You have the method. Now, you need the decision. Make it. Today. Now.